Hey folks, I'm Camille Who Armstrong, the performing arts renaissance woman. For over 40 years, I've worked as a performer, educator, consultant, and coach. But most importantly, I'm a parent. From classrooms to stages to bedtime routines, I've spent my life nurturing creativity, character, and connection in the next generation. This series is for you, whether you're expecting, learning as you go, or parenting for the first time, or even third time around. I'm here to share the insights, tools, and real talk I've gathered over 4 decades of hands on experience. Welcome to Camille Who, the Child Whisperer. I'm so glad you're here. As a strong willed child myself, one word can change everything: the why. I was that kid. My parents said, because I said so. You don't do it because I said so, or you do it because I said so. And that didn't go over well with me, mainly because I wanted to know there had to be some depth. Like, I don't want to I was never the kind of person that was just going to repeat what people did, what everybody else, because everybody else did it. I don't repeat things because everybody else does it. I'm that person that challenges the norm. In case you have not figured that out by now, I challenged the norm. So even when I was raising my children, it seemed radical. The way that I raised my children seemed radical because in the everyday society, everyone's sort of defaulting to what everyone else does, right? The norm. And I always got red flags. Once I see or hear people do or say the same thing, and it's repeated, like people, just everybody saying it. Once I start seeing that or hearing that, then I would tend to kind of like fall back, analyze it, and really just ask the question, why is everyone saying it? Are they just saying it because they understand what they're saying, or they just saying like they really feel that way, or they're just saying it because that's what people say? So when you told me because I said so, I wanted to know why. I wanted to know that it wasn't because everyone else says because I said so. I wanted to know that there was a logical reason behind why you don't want me to do something or why you want me to do something. If you said to me, don't touch that stove because you'll burn yourself, that would make me go, oh, okay, because I don't want to burn myself. But if you say, don't touch that stove, why? Because I said so. That was me. That was my right away reaction. Telling your child why makes parenting more effective, makes telling them to do the thing or not to do the thing, or getting them to follow rules a lot more effectively. It really is true for most humans. Some little humans are like, they will just do what they're told. They're just that kid, okay? That's a rare case. That's a smaller percentage than the big percentage that needs to know why. They still just need to know why, right? Because even that one kid, or that small percentage of kids, though they won't do it, they live their lives sort of in fear of not getting in trouble, but they don't understand that, oh, I told you not to do it because of X, Y, and Z, or they still don't have the understanding of why they're not doing it, or they don't have the understanding of why they're doing it. They're just doing as they're told. Okay? And that's not always that great either. Giving them a why is way more effective. Here's the problems that come along with it. You're going to have power struggles. You're going to have defiance. That's what I did. I was it was going to be a power struggle. I'm going to keep on asking why then. And I mean, I got, Camille, shut up. Camille, shut up. Just be quiet and let mommy be right. Just let daddy be right. Like, and I'd be like, no. I want to know why. If you're going to tell me what, and I would just like, I would get in trouble because I wanted to know why. I would get in trouble for talking back. That was what I was getting in trouble for, right? Because I didn't be quiet. But I wanted to know why, and I wanted a child, like I just, If I knew why, I was more likely to listen. And so I was that kid that was like, I would jump into stuff and then I'd learn the hard way why we don't do it and why we do it. But that's like what? I ended up with, I don't know, I've broken my fingers 8 times. I have dislocated kneecaps. I have cricked necks. I have had so many different kinds of injuries. Why? Because I jump head first. That's me. I play hard, but I jump head first. There's a lot of those injuries that could have been avoided. There's a lot of those just me getting in trouble in certain scenarios. Those could have been avoided if I had been told the why. So you don't know if your child is strong willed or not, but it's better to take those precautions. Right? I'm going to tell you what can happen, and that's my scenario, and children that I've raised, their scenarios, and other children that I have helped to raise. I've, helped to raise and have raised strong-willed children that, listen, because I knew that not knowing the why was not okay for me, I would always tell my children why. And you know what? They obeyed me. They actually listened to me. They trusted what I said and they did what I told them to do or didn't do what I told them not to do. And I just didn't have the power struggles like that. It wasn't necessary. They trusted that if I said this is not safe for you, okay. Oh, yeah, I get it. Mom's trying to keep me safe, so I should probably not do it, right? And then I would give them stories. Sometimes we'd sit around. I've talked about having meal times, and we'd sit around the table and we'd tell stories. So this had happened to this guy, or this had happened to me when I was a kid, and blah 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 blah. And then they get like, oh, so that's why you tell us not to do that, or that's why you say to do that exactly. Now they have a whole story behind it and there's no pushback. You don't get the power struggles with your child if you give them the why. They just don't understand, right? You tell them no or you tell them yes. Having an understanding of something gets into your belief system when you're in your belief system. When you have an understanding of something, it then dictates how you behave, right? So if you don't have an understanding of something, that's going to dictate how you behave. I don't understand how machines work. I'm gonna put my fingers in this machine to see if it's gonna, I don't know, whatever. The point is, because of the lack of understanding, that can destroy my fingers. So you want that comprehension there for your child. Another downside to when you fail to give a reason is that your child doesn't trust you. You just telling me what to do. You just want to control me. You just want to control my life. To this day, I have a 16-year-old who I still have to say, look, I know it seems like, because he's a very strong willed human, great human being, still strong willed, right? And even being strong willed, one has to learn how to kind of just chill a little bit and learn. And so there are times where I have to remind him, I'm not here. I'm not just telling you what to do just to control you. These are the reasons why I'm telling you X, Y, and Z. This is the example. This is the story that could go along with that. And once I break it down like that, he's like, oh, you're right. So it works with teenagers. It works with middle schoolers. It works with babies. And now, if you're going to have those whys, you want to simplify it, especially with a 9-month-old, a 12-month-old, a 15-month-old who's going towards the electric socket. You go, That's electric. That's it. 2 words. That's electric. It's it. Don't touch that. That's electric. And you give that face, you do this like, whoo, you don't want to mess with that. that's going to make your child think twice about it. Because if it has mom or dad acting that way in response to electric, yeah, no, I'm going to probably avoid it. So you want to keep those reasons simple, right? Keep it down to 2 to 3 words, 4 words the most, but make sure you give that reason. But the benefits to giving your child reasons is that it encourages their understanding and wise choices. You can then trust your child to be somewhere else facing a decision, whether they're going to touch a thing or not. But if they don't understand why they don't touch it, they're basically, it's taboo, right? And you know what you do with taboo. When no one's looking, you're going to go towards that taboo. So, but if you have an understanding of, that's going to happen if I touch it, that is now stuck in their brains. So that when you're not around and they're faced with that choice, they're going to make the wise choice because they have an understanding. It also builds respect and cooperation. This is one of those things that you want your child to respect what you say, and the more you show them that there's a reason for why you're doing something or not doing something, why they should do something or not do something, the more they start to they respect you. They respect that, okay, there's there's safety that has, it has to do with safety, or it has to do with, teaching me the right things as a child, and that's their job as a parent. It has to do with, my parents just want me to do really well. And then they tend to cooperate that way because they know at the end of the day, I'm just trying to keep them safe. I'm just trying to set them up for success. I am trying to help them live their best life. And even though they can't do what they want to do, they can still respect that. This goes both ways now. When your child says, I really don't want to do that, ask them their reason. Sometimes their reasons are just fleeting, silly little, and this is what I would do with my kids. And now we're talking, we're talking older than 3, 4, 5, and I would say, well, those reasons seem very like something that can change from day to day or from feeling to feeling. Okay, so let's give it some time, and we're going to have this conversation again, and we can talk about your reasons again. If they are really good reasons, then I will allow you to stop doing that thing, or then I'll say that you can do that thing. Okay, so these are ongoing conversations that can happen, and happen both ways, right? When you're doing it with your child is now learning how to build a case for themselves. I'm doing this, and not only that, you're also teaching your child to think about what they're doing and why they're doing it. They better have a reason. I always say to my kids, why did you do it? You're going to say no, I mean, and I've seen this so many times on TV, other parents, other kids, and they go, you say, why did you do that? And they say, I don't know. And I'd be like, you mean you don't have a reason why you did it? You don't know the reason why? Well, maybe if you don't have a reason, you shouldn't be doing it, because now you can't explain yourself. You, don't you think? My kids would be like, yeah, you got a point, right? Because you're going to be questioned at some point. You're going to have to answer to it at some point. And if you're going to answer, I don't know, then you shouldn't have done it to begin with. And you should not be doing it to begin with, especially if you can't explain why. And you have really no good reason to be doing that thing or to not do that thing. Also, it strengthens the trust and the connection that you have. There's nothing like it. There are so many voices in the world. There are voices in school. There are voices on the street. There's TV. There are voices that are speaking to your child and giving them information. The more trust you have between you and your child, and the better connection you have between you and your child, the less they're going to listen to everything else, all the noise out there. Because I tell you, there's a lot of noise out there, and society is going to try to shape your child as much as they do. It's what society does, which is why trust and connection is so important between you and your child. And you establish that before your child goes out into the world as a student, as a congregation member of a church, as another family member, as a student in a daycare. So something like, don't touch that. It's better to say, ooh, don't touch that. It's hot, right? If you've already taught your child, right, then they know what hot is. They know what what the association is, what the sound sounds like, what mom or dad's reaction to hot looks like. So if you say, "Oh, don't touch that, it's hot," then they're gonna think twice about it. Or, oh, that's electric. I say that a lot of times, and then I get the child that goes, oh, I go, and then they go, electric. Yes, that's electric. You don't want to mess with electric. You know, add that little flair to it. So yeah, think about knowing what standards you want to have for your child, setting those standards, upholding those standards, and also what are the things that, because the things are going to come up that you really can't predict. Every day there's going to be stuff that comes up and that your child does. Your child will surprise you, your child will not surprise you, right? And those, you want to come up with your 2 to 3 word answers or reasons. Eat up your food, it gives you muscles, right? And if you've taught your child heavy, I need muscles, then you can say, okay, eat your food and then you'll get muscles. They know what muscles are and they know why you need muscles to pick up heavy things. Right? And if they can't pick up heavy things, well, man, they don't have enough muscles, right? So it's things like that. Well, let's go outside. Let's finish eating first so we can go outside. What if your 3-year-old says, well, why? Because if you don't have energy, food gives you energy. And when you have energy, you can run outside and play. With a 3-year-old, you can give them a little more of an explanation. Right? With a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, you say, eat your food, you get muscles. Done. Eat your food, it helps you grow. That's another thing that you can say, right? So start thinking of those reasons and simplify them down to 2 to 3 words, 4 words at the most. You'll be able to explain a little bit more with more words as your child becomes 3 years old and above. All right, that's all for today. See you in the next video. I'm Camille Who Armstrong, and I am out of here. To find out more about Better Parent, Better Future, which is my service for parents, first-time parents, I have an online course, I have coaching available, and I have other videos if you ever want to, you could like and subscribe this one, move, and just, and if you just want to work with me, ask some questions, whatever it is, the link is in the description. I'm Camille Who Armstrong, and I am out of here.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Camille Who, the Child Whisperer. A heartfelt thank you to the generous supporters of the Books and Beyond campaign. This series wouldn't be possible without you. If you're a new or expecting parent, I created Better Parent, Better Future just for you. I empower first-time parents to embrace a positive mindset and navigate those early parenting years with confidence and joy. Click the link in the description to learn more or to find out how we can work together. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and keep leading with love.